In 1893, when women in almost every country on Earth were still denied the right to vote, one tiny island nation changed history forever. This same country later looked directly at the United States and said no to nuclear warships. And centuries earlier, one of its volcanoes erupted so violently that the skies over Rome and China turned blood red. But perhaps the strangest fact of all is this: just 700 years ago, no human being had ever lived here. No kingdoms, no empires, no cities, nothing, only silence. This is New Zealand, a country isolated at the edge of the world that somehow changed the world anyway, and today, we unseal its greatest story. Most countries have ancient histories stretching back thousands of years. Egypt built pyramids. China built dynasties. India built civilizations. But New Zealand? New Zealand is almost brand new. For most of human history, these islands simply did not exist in the human world. While Rome conquered Europe, while Vikings crossed the seas, while Mongol armies thundered across Asia, New Zealand remained completely untouched. Think about how strange that is. Human beings had already spread across nearly every corner of Earth. And yet these islands, sitting alone in the Pacific Ocean, remained empty. It was the last major landmass on Earth settled by humans. And geography explains everything. New Zealand lies more than 1,600 kilometers from Australia. It sits isolated in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, far away from the great centers of civilization. That isolation created something extraordinary. A world unlike anywhere else on Earth. A land where evolution happened in complete separation for millions of years. A place where birds became rulers of the forest. Where giant eagles hunted from the skies. Where strange glowing caves lit up underground rivers like galaxies. And where, for centuries, nobody knew this place even existed. New Zealand is made up of two main islands, the North Island and the South Island. Together, they form one of the most geographically diverse countries on the planet. The North Island is shaped by volcanic fire. At the center lies the Taupo volcanic zone, one of the most active volcanic regions on Earth. And beneath the peaceful blue waters of Lake Taupo sits a sleeping supervolcano. Around the year 232 AD, it erupted with terrifying force. Scientists believe the explosion was so powerful that skies over Rome and China turned red. Imagine that, a volcano erupting in New Zealand, visible from the other side of the planet. Even today, the land still breathes. Steam rises from the earth. Boiling mud pools bubble beneath the surface. Geysers erupt into the sky. The ground itself feels alive. But the South Island tells a completely different story. This is the land of ice and mountains. The southern Alps stretch across the island like a giant stone spine. 18 peaks rise above 3,000 meters. And the highest of them all, Aoraki, also known as Mount Cook, towers above the clouds. These mountains helped shape one of the greatest explorers in history, Sir Edmund Hillary. the New Zealander who became the first man to stand on the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. But perhaps nothing represents New Zealand's beauty more than Fiordland. Massive cliffs rise straight out of dark ocean waters. Waterfalls crash from the sky. Clouds drift silently through ancient valleys carved by glaciers. Milford Sound became so famous that author Rudyard Kipling called it the eighth wonder of the world. And then there is the wildlife. Before humans arrived, New Zealand had almost no land mammals. No lions, no wolves, no snakes. Instead, birds ruled this land. Some grew gigantic. The moa, a giant flightless bird, stood over 3 meters tall. Above them hunted the Haast's eagle, one of the largest eagles in history, a predator powerful enough to kill animals far larger than itself. Even today, New Zealand feels different from the rest of the world. Nearly half of all whale and dolphin species have been spotted in its waters. More penguin species live here than anywhere else on Earth. This is not just a country, it is a lost world. But empty lands never stay empty forever. Across the Pacific Ocean, another civilization was already searching the horizon, the Polynesians. Long before Europeans mastered ocean navigation, Polynesian sailors were crossing vast stretches of the Pacific using only stars, winds, and ocean currents. No compass, no engines, no modern maps. Only memory, skill, and courage. Around the year 1280 AD, giant double-hulled canoes called waka arrived on New Zealand's shores. The people aboard became the Māori, and what they achieved here was extraordinary. They built tribes, settlements, farming systems, and warrior societies. They adapted to harsh environments and created one of the richest indigenous cultures in the Pacific. At the center of Maori life stood Wakapapa, ancestry and connection. To the land, to the sea, to family, to spirit. Competition between tribes often led to warfare. Then, in the early 1800s, Europeans introduced muskets. Everything changed. The musket wars exploded across New Zealand. Thousands died. Entire tribes were displaced. Historians estimate that between 30,000 and 40,000 Maori lost their lives during this brutal period. And yet, even after generations of war, Maori civilization survived. But a far greater transformation was approaching from across the sea. The first European known to sight New Zealand was Dutch explorer Abel Tasman in 1642. The encounter ended violently. Several of his crew were killed after clashes with Maori warriors. Tasman sailed away, and for more than a century, Europeans stayed distant from these islands. Then came Captain James Cook. In 1769, Cook arrived and mapped New Zealand with remarkable precision. His charts were so accurate that sailors used them for decades. But Cook did more than map coastlines. He opened New Zealand to the world. Soon came whalers, seal hunters, missionaries, traders, and with them came something invisible: disease. Maori communities had no immunity to illnesses like influenza and measles. Entire villages were devastated. By the late 1800s, the Maori population had collapsed dramatically, not mainly from conquest, but from germs. Then came colonization. British settlers poured into New Zealand seeking land and opportunity. Tensions grew rapidly. Who owned the land? Who held authority? In 1840, British officials and Maori chiefs signed the Treaty of Waitangi. It would become the most important document in New Zealand history. But there was a problem. The English version and the Maori version did not say the same thing. The British believed Maori had surrendered sovereignty. Many Maori believed they had only allowed British governance while retaining authority over their own lands. That misunderstanding would shape the next 180 years of conflict, debate, and politics. Even today, the treaty remains deeply controversial. For some, it symbolizes partnership. For others, betrayal. And yet, it also became the foundation of modern New Zealand itself. In the 1860s, gold was discovered in the South Island. Suddenly, New Zealand changed overnight. Thousands of immigrants flooded in from Britain, Ireland, Australia, and China. Mining towns exploded into existence. Ports expanded. Railways spread. The economy surged. But prosperity came with conflict. As settlers demanded more land, tensions between Maori and the British Crown erupted into war. The New Zealand Wars became some of the most defining conflicts in the country's history. Large areas of Maori land were confiscated, communities were shattered, and for decades afterward, Maori culture faced systematic suppression. Children were punished in schools for speaking the Maori language. Traditional customs were discouraged. Many believed Maori culture might disappear entirely, but history had other plans. For a small country at the edge of the Pacific, New Zealand repeatedly did things before the rest of the world. In 1893, New Zealand became the first self-governing country to grant women the right to vote. At a time when most democracies excluded women completely, New Zealand changed history. Women like Kate Shepherd led massive campaigns demanding equality. And eventually, they won. The rest of the world slowly followed, but New Zealand went first. Then came labor reforms, minimum wages, worker protections, social welfare programs. New Zealand became one of the world's great social experiments. And then came another bold decision. In 1987, New Zealand declared itself nuclear-free. No nuclear weapons, no nuclear-powered warships allowed in its ports. The decision shocked allies like the United States. Tensions rose sharply, but New Zealand refused to back down. To this day, the country remains proudly nuclear-free. Small nation, independent voice, and the world noticed. Today, New Zealand is home to around 5.4 million people, and modern New Zealand is one of the most multicultural societies in the world. European descendants remain the majority population. But Maori culture has experienced a remarkable revival. The Maori language is now an official language of the country. Traditional arts are celebrated. Maori television broadcasts nationwide, and young generations are reconnecting with traditions once nearly lost. Meanwhile, immigration from Asia and the Pacific continues reshaping the country. Auckland, the nation's largest city, has become one of the most diverse cities on Earth. And despite its small size, New Zealand continues to influence global culture. Its rugby team, the All Blacks, became legendary. Their dominance in international rugby is unmatched. And before every game, the haka returns. A 700-year-old warrior tradition performed on the world stage. Ancient culture meeting modern identity, exactly like New Zealand itself.
In audio.
New Zealand should have been forgotten. Tiny country, far from the great empires of history, far from the centers of global power. But somehow, this isolated nation kept doing the impossible. It crossed oceans without maps, protected an ancient culture against extinction, changed democracy forever, defied superpowers, and transformed some of the wildest landscapes on Earth into symbols recognized around the world. Perhaps that is what makes New Zealand so fascinating. Not just its beauty, not just its peace, but the fact that a country at the edge of the world kept finding ways to lead it. This has been New Zealand Unsealed.
In audio.
For much of its modern history, New Zealand's economy depended on sheep. By the 1960s, there were more sheep than almost anywhere on Earth. Wool became one of the country's biggest exports. But when global wool prices collapsed, New Zealand faced crisis. By the early 1980s, the economy was struggling badly. Inflation surged, debt increased, growth slowed. One economist called New Zealand the most protected economy in the Western world. Then came radical reform. In 1984, the government opened markets, removed subsidies, privatized industries, and transformed the economy. The changes were painful. Unemployment rose sharply. Many communities suffered, but over time, New Zealand rebuilt itself into one of the world's most competitive economies. Agriculture evolved. Dairy farming became dominant. Fonterra, a company from a nation of just 5 million people, grew into one of the largest dairy exporters on Earth. Then came wine. The Marlborough region began producing Sauvignon Blanc wines that gained global fame. Tourism exploded too, and Hollywood helped fuel it. When Peter Jackson turned New Zealand into Middle-earth for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, millions of viewers saw the country's landscapes for the first time. Mountains, rivers, green valleys, ancient forests. The films transformed New Zealand into a dream destination. Tourism became one of the country's largest industries. A tiny remote nation had turned its natural beauty into global influence. this video opened your eyes to a country you thought you already knew, subscribe to Nations Unsealed. Because every week, we uncover another nation, another history, another hidden story shaping our world. Next week, we go somewhere even more unexpected. Until then, stay curious, stay global. This is Nations Unsealed.